Okay, this is my BB gun. It's the Healthways Plainsman, model 9401. It's probably from around 1970 or so. And 11 years ago, it was in a very, very bad saltwater flood. It was underwater for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days. And I dried it off and just shelved it somewhere. And that was it. So I started to say, hey, you know what? Let me see if I could take it apart and clean it, and I was pretty interested in about what I found on the inside. Unfortunately, I always do the work and then video it afterwards. I could have had, shown you what it looked like on the inside while it was rusted, but I didn't. But anyway, this is the outside cleaned up, and the outside came out pretty good. The This black coating came off of the screws. I don't really mind that much. It's whatever. This got all damaged. However, it was in better condition. But I don't have it working yet. But I plan on getting some pieces. This is the second generation, where you had the screw cap, which you put the CO2 in. It's a 8 gram. You put the CO2 with the neck up, and when you screw this in, it pushes it in and punctures it, and then makes the seal, and then it eventually comes out. Very difficult to put. It's easy to take apart, difficult to put back together because there's some springs and some stuff that don't make it easy at all. But the valve body on the inside was my problem. That was the main part that's giving me the most trouble, because they don't really make parts for this anymore. And maybe if you send it to a company, maybe I don't think they would do it, but if they can match pieces up, that would be helpful. But the valve body has a seal, a washer, where the puncture pin goes into the CO2 cartridge, and that was it was falling apart. So that's my first thing I have to replace. And the second is the return spring of the valve inside the valve body. So that's that little piece that the hammer is going to hit, and then it pushes the valve down, and the spring pushes it back up. So the spring, excuse me, was totally dissolved from whatever was in the water with the salt. And here are some pieces. If you can see, the top piece here, where is it? Oh, there's my finger. That's the washer that seals it, seals the CO2 canister. And these two pieces, I actually got three, and it stuck to my finger. So those three pieces there, that's the remnants of the spring that was in there. That's all I could find. So I have no idea about the length. I took a measurement on how round they are, and the diameter, and that's not so helpful. But I did manage to find a soap dispenser with the pump top, and it had that spring in it. So when I took the spring out, I noticed that it's basically the two ends are smaller on the spring. That's see the way it's shaped, but the middle side is basically the same diameter as those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to somehow, no, not somehow, I'm just going to get snips, and I'm going to clip it. And the old spring had, I think, 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it had about 4 turns or so. So I'm just going to try to make it the same length as I believe it was. There was a picture online of the first generation spring. So I'll cut it about 4 circles there of the 4 coils, and then I'll have to see how the valve goes up and down, if it has enough pressure to keep it up, because this tension spring here, this where's my finger? So this right here adjusts the tension. It's like a low, medium, and high. You unscrew it, and as this screw backs out for each setting, as it comes out, it's pulling a spring, and the spring exerts pressure on the hammer. So I'm not sure if if you put it on high, the hammer might be pushing the valve in and releasing CO2. So, but what I'll do is I'm going to take it apart, and I'll show you the inside, and I'll going to add some pictures to this to show you what it looks like. before I took it apart with all the rust and stuff. So let me get to that. Okay, since I have nothing to hold my phone, it's going to be difficult for me to do this. But I'm going to start, of course, with the two screws here. I'll take them out first, and then I'll do the next ones, and then there's a couple of more under here, and there's a couple on the back. And if you want to remove the barrel, there's a little Allen, one of those set screws in there, and you just loosen that, and the barrel should come out. So let me take the handle off. Okay, so I took the two screws out. Here's the hand, here's, the grip. Okay, next screws that we're going to do is that one there, those two, and that one in the hole. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so the screws are out. You have two up here. Those are they're small. They're self-explanatory. You can't mix them up. Two long ones go here, and then the one in the deep hole goes here. This is screwed into a nut that's just captured in here, very loose. That you don't have to take that out. The worst part about putting this back together is the hammer needs to go. The pin needs to go into that hole. And then the other worst part, really frustrating, is where you load the BBs right in here. There's a spring, you can see it. See that line? I don't know if you can see it. It's that line that's going up and down. So that's a spring. All it is a wire, and it just puts pressure against that to make it, I guess, stay, open or shut, whatever. You could put, I think, 100 BBs in there maybe, and it self-loads as you shoot it. This is the safety switch. It just moves. It moves the arm up. You can see through that hole right there. Once it's up, it misses. It misses the hammer. So when you pull it, nothing happens. Oh, right there, it went down. Look at that. So go up, yeah, and I gotta fix it. But anyway, that's because it's open. All right, let me take it apart. Okay, so now this is one of those SIM cards for a cell phone. So I cut it like this, and once you got the case on it like this, and without this piece falling out all the time, what you're going to do is you're going to go like this. You're going to find that piece, and you're just going to push it so that you can see it, and then close it. And all it's doing is that it's just nudging it. That's all it's doing. So that's the way to do that. This piece here, probably the best way to do this spring that goes in here, the best way would be to probably put a dab of glue on each end, tiny glib. This way it doesn't fall out, because man, that is annoying. That is so damn annoying. And then once it's done, just make sure it snaps together tight, and you can hold it really well, and it'll go back together. Now, if you want, I cut the spring, and I'm going to put it in here. The valve's in there. I'm just going to put it right like that. It's going to go like that. I'm going to put the top on it and see what happens. Okay, it doesn't look that shabby. So I put the spring in there, I closed the bottom, and it's holding the valve stem up, and you could just about push it down. It's kind of hard. There it goes. Now, I'm not sure of what kind of pressure is needed, or, but this is going to be trial and error. I still got a little bit more of the spring. I can trim some and straighten it out. And it's just going to see that it's going to go on that little black washer right there. Right there, that little round black washer, O-ring, and so it sits like that, and the hammer has a piece of steel in there that's going to smash that thing down. It's going to smash that valve down and let the air out. So remember, this is all going to be pressurized until this thing goes and shoots it out. Anyway, so my next is to make the little piece of rubber that goes inside that hole. Then I have to wait for the CO2 tanks, the cartridges, to come. I ordered the wrong size by accident. I ordered 12G, which are too long. Those are good for paintball guns, but I have the ones that don't have the screw on top. So the threaded end, the threaded neck, I have regular. So I guess I'm stuck with those because I'm not going to return it. But next I'll be making the black washer. So this is where I'm at right now. I had a pack of automotive air conditioning washers, and I figured maybe some of these I could use inside here. And this is the original O-ring for that. And I kind of found one that was a similar size, and I was able to stuff it in. It looks like it sticks up a little bit, so that should work. This one here is kind of flattened on one side. I can't focus on it. Yeah, it's kind of flat on that side and then rounded on that. This is the way it was in upside down. So I'm going to give that one a shot. I'll save that. And I tried some of these thicker ones inside here, and they really didn't. I used two, and they didn't. When it drops down to the bottom, it's hard to do it with one hand. It didn't seem to make any sort of a connection, even though it has to be forced in. It didn't make any sort of a connection, with this area here. It looks like it has to at least seal right on this edge where my fingernail is. So I tried the two O-rings, and that didn't seem like it was good because they're probably going to mash on the inside. So I'm probably going to have to cut something and stick it in there, and that's going to be trial and error. I'm probably going to waste a bunch of tubes because if it doesn't seal, it's over. I have to toss the tube while it's, shot. So I'm going to have to come up with the best sealing method I can. What I also wanted to show, I didn't last time, was these screws on the back right here. Well, that's the handle. There's probably another two underneath. Those screws actually keep this in. Remember this, the air goes in here, rides underneath this channel, and then comes out here, and there's a gasket underneath there. You loosen this again, the barrel comes out. I think the barrel comes out this way. It's pressed into this, but it slides out that way because there's a piece on the end of the barrel. Anyway, so next up, we're going to see what happens with the valve seal, the piercing seal. All right, one other piece I wanted to show was the safety, how that works. You can see right here, that wire passes through a hole in the back of the pin and just gets wedged right in there. That's all it does. So there's two wires. One of those spring wires is for the safety, and the short, stiffer one is for the rear sight where you load the BBs in through. Okay. So I'm out of luck. I tried making a rubber seal that goes into the piercing pin area, and with trial and error, I can't get this to catch any threads. I thought I made the washer too high, too thick, I mean, and it was keeping it, like out too much. So I kept on making the washer thinner and thinner and thinner, which was difficult. And eventually I tried to put the cartridge in with no washer and realized that with no washer, I still can't get, I mean, this one is used. This one is used. With no washer up against the piercing pin, I got an O-ring in there right now. The threads do not catch. So that's with no seal. That's just metal on metal. So I'm starting to think that maybe these new 8-gram cartridges are just a tad longer than what they were in 1970. They used to be green with that like dent in the middle, like almost like a Coke bottle kind of. So what I was doing was I had the seal in there, and I was smashing it in. I can't see it like this. I was forcing it as hard as I can, and I was making it puncture the thing. And as it punctured, I would hear the air come out, and then I would hard to, I would screw it in like that. But by that time, all the air came out. So I can't figure out. Like I said, if this was a full, I got 2 boxes of cartridges now. I'm screwed. So now it would stick out about that much, and just putting this like this, you knew it just, you're not going to do it. It should be able to go like this, and then as you tighten it, then it makes the seal, punctures it and makes the seal all in one shot. Not happening. So I really don't know what's going on. Like I said, my guess is this is too long by, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, just enough to grab the threads on the end. And I have no problem screwing this in. It's fine. So I'm stuck, and sorry, but that's the end of the video. I can't go any further. So too bad. Okay.